You never thought that you would be reborn. In your last life, you gave up too much for your so-called sister Linwan, but ended up being deserted and miserable. Half an hour before the college entrance examination, under the instigation of your good brother Chenyu, you confessed to Linwan, but she rejected you coldly. You were extremely depressed and failed the college entrance examination. Your parents were extremely disappointed and kicked you out of the house. Chenyu, the hypocritical guy, successfully married Lin Wan with the good persona he created on weekdays. When you opened your eyes again, you found that you had returned to the moment when your confession was rejected and there was only half an hour left before the college entrance examination. This time, you don't want to repeat the same mistakes and don't want to suffer the pain of love again. With the repeated speculation on the college entrance examination papers in your previous life and the memories from the future life, you made up your mind to be admitted to Tingshu University and Peking University and live a carefree life. At this time, your half-sister Linwan found you. She was dressed in a neat business suit, with a cool and delicate face, and her long legs were more eye-catching against the backdrop of high heels. She looked at you, frowning slightly. I will take what happened yesterday as a joke. You should prepare for the exam now. I will wait for you at Southern University in 2 months. You looked up at her, feeling mixed emotions, but soon made up your mind, picked up your pencil case and said, Sister, the time is almost up. I will go to the exam first. Lin Wan was stunned. She didn't expect that you, who always relied on her in every way, would be so free and easy. You ignored Lin Wan's slightly scrutinizing eyes, turned around and ran out of the house, took a taxi and went straight to the examination room. You must firmly grasp the opportunity. You must succeed in the college entrance examination, get into the ideal university, and then go to see different scenery and live the life you really want. When you finished the exam and walked out of the examination room, the sun was about to set. A group of reporters surrounded you, vying to interview this year's college entrance examination students. You wanted to go around, but were stopped by a microphone. Student Su Ran, I heard that your confession was rejected yesterday. Did it affect today's exam? Before you could answer, a figure with slicked hair and powdered face squeezed out of the crowd. It was Chen Yu. He had a smile on his face that seemed concerned, but was actually gloating. Don't ask. Su Ran failed to confess the day before the college entrance examination, and he was in a bad state. Hearing his words, those unbearable memories of the past life flooded into your mind like a tide. In the previous life, it was this Chen Yu who spread your confession everywhere, causing you to be kicked out by your parents. When you saw him standing next to Lin Wan with a smug look on his face, you realized that he had always been secretly in love with Lin Wan, and you were just a stepping stone on his road to love. You took a deep breath, pushed away Chen Yu who was about to continue speaking, and calmly faced the reporter. There is nothing wrong with liking someone, and there is nothing wrong with confessing, but these will not affect my exam. I am confident that I will pass this exam, thank you. The afterglow of the setting sun shines on you. Your back is straight, and you walk towards the direction of home, which is the harbor you long to return to countless times, in your dreams in the middle of the night, in your previous life. Su Ran is back. Suddenly a familiar and loving voice sounded. You looked up and saw your father waiting for you under the big locust tree, where he picked you up from school when you were a child. Your father looked at you in front of him, hesitated for a moment, and said, Dad heard what you said to Lin Wan yesterday, but I didn't dare to let your mother know. You are a confused child, but Lin Wan is your sister. You were stunned, looking at your father with worried eyes, and a touch of bitterness surged in your heart. In your previous life, because of your confession to Lin Wan, you made your parents fall into the whirlpool of public opinion. They grew white hair overnight and looked haggard. You trotted forward and took your father's arm. Dad, I mistook dependence for love. I won't only treat Lin Wan as my sister in the future. The father's worried face finally eased a little, and the two of them walked into the yard. Pushing open the door, you saw Lin Wan standing at the door. Father patted your shoulder and went into the house first. The afterglow of the setting sun sprinkled on Lin Wan's cold face, and the two of you looked at each other and remained silent for a long time. After a while, you took the lead and said with a smile, Sister, those nonsense I said yesterday made you worried. I had a short circuit in my brain. I apologize to you. Don't take it too hard. We will be a family for life in the future. Lin Wan looked at your calm explanation, and a trace of anger inexplicably surged in her heart. Yesterday you were still holding her watch and talking, but your attitude changed overnight. Did you really let go of the thoughts that you shouldn't have, or were you playing hard to get? Lin Wan looked at you and taught in a deep voice, "It's good that you think so. The college entrance examination is a watershed in life. You should focus on the right path." You kept smiling, and nodding. Lin Wan took out a campus album from the room and handed it to you, then said, "The scoreline of Southern University will increase every year. You have to go all out to get into the university of your dreams." When you saw the Southern University recruitment poster in your hand, the smile on your face froze for a moment, but you didn't respond. In your previous life, you were chasing Lin Wan, so naturally you wanted to apply for the Southern University that was closest to her school. They didn't catch up with her and ended up in a miserable life. It's not easy to start over. This time you must firmly choose your favorite Kingshui University and Peking University, study your favorite archaeology, explore the mysteries of history, appreciate the wisdom of the ancients, and then share these research results with more people. You looked at Lin Wan's back as she turned around and finally didn't say that you wanted to change your choice. Anyway, you will have your own life in the future, so let's not talk about it for now. So you returned to the room with the album, turned on the radio, and began to review and study the knowledge in the field of archaeology that you are interested in, and didn't come out until dinner. The family gathered around a table for dinner after a long time. This was the scene you longed for in your previous life when you were too ashamed to go home, because of rumors and wandered around. Thinking of this, you were a little touched and couldn't help but be distracted. What is Sue Ran thinking about? Is the food not to your taste? Mother picked up a piece of ribs and put it in your bowl, asking with some concern. You shook your head and smiled and replied, "No, it's fine." Mother was overjoyed. "That's good, you can go to Southern University. Your sister also works in the school over there, just in time to take care of you." Your hand holding the chopsticks paused and your mother didn't notice, and continued, "Your father and I are old. You are in college. You are in college, and you can't go home often because of your heavy studies. Your sister is here, and your mother and your father are relieved." The words came to your lips, but you still didn't say them out. "After this summer vacation, you will be 18 years old. You will take good care of yourself, Mom and Dad. Don't worry." After dinner, you wanted to help your mother clean up the dishes, but your mother pushed you to take a bath and rest early. When you came out of the bathish with your hair wiped, you saw Lin Wan in the yard. Lin Wan said calmly, "When we were eating earlier, you seemed to have something to say." You paused while wiping your head. In your previous life, you followed Lin Wan like a little tail, but Lin Wan was devoted to her studies and only wanted to enter a well-known company after graduation to realize her career ideals. She would not notice you following behind her at all. Unexpectedly, this time she carefully noticed your abnormality. You smiled gently. "No, I just feel a little reluctant to leave home." Under the moonlight, Lin Wan looked at you, who was shorter than her, and for some reason she always felt that you seemed to have become a little strange. You quietly looked at the stars in the night sky. "I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to calm down and appreciate them in the future. The teacher once said that after going to college, there's no spring and autumn in your hometown, only winter and summer. The older you get, the less you go home." The two of them didn't speak anymore and fell into silence. At this time, your mother came over from the kitchen. "Lin Wan, the matchmaker, came to me today and said that she wants to arrange a blind date for you and Shanyu. Why don't you go and meet each other before you go to school?" Lin Wan was stunned, then nodded and agreed. "Okay, you decide." Your mother immediately smiled and said, "I will go to the matchmaker and arrange a blind date for you and Shanyu in the next 2 days. I know that boy well. If it is suitable, we will settle it. When you go to school in the future, there will be someone to take care of your life." After your mother left, you saw Lin Wan was about to leave. Thinking of Shanyu's hypocritical face in your previous life, you reminded her, "Sister, Shanyu is not as simple as he seems. When you go on a blind date tomorrow, you should be more careful. But Lin Wan suddenly frowned and looked at you. Su Ran, you have really changed. Zhang Yu is your best brother. You shouldn't slander him like this. After Lin Wan finished speaking, the door was heavily closed. You stood there, wondering why you didn't notice that Lin Wan was so protective of Zhang Yu in your previous life. A trace of helplessness flashed through your heart. Seems that you are worrying about nothing. Forget it. Anyway, it has nothing to do with you who will stand next to Lin Wan in the future. You returned to your room, turned off the lights and went to sleep, staying well rested to prepare for the exam the next day. The alarm clock rang on time at 7:30. After breakfast you checked your admission ticket in, paper and pen, and went to the examination room. After the test paper was handed out, your nervous face finally relaxed. You tried to guess the questions last night, and you were lucky enough to guess a few key questions. This time you will definitely perform exceptionally well and get good grades. With a smile of determination, you wrote the test paper furiously. Time passed little by little and the bell rang. All the subjects were finished. The books you read for more than 10 years, the classes you took, and the past years ended in a few test papers. You walked out of the examination room, stretched your body and relaxed your whole body. You returned to the village in a good mood. As soon as you arrived at the entrance of the village, you found that everyone looked at you with strange eyes. You had only taken 2 steps when those unbearable words pierced your ears. This is the boy from the Su family. He actually proposed to his sister the day before yesterday. Which university would accept such a person who corrupts morals? The old Su family has such a shameless son. I'm afraid the ancestral grave is buried in the wrong place. If it were my son, I would have beaten him to death. Some people are so thick-skinned that they have the nerve to stay in Zhenghuge village to bring shame to us. When you heard this, you felt like you were falling into an ice cellar, as if you were back to the nightmare of your previous life. In your previous life, your confession to Lin Wan was known to everyone in the village overnight. At that time, your mind was blank and you were ashamed. When you wanted to explain, it was too late. In the end, your parents were implicated and were accused of. If a child is not taught well, it is the parents' fault. You clenched your hands into fists, turned around and raised your head to face everyone, and spoke in a loud voice. Ladies and gentlemen, Lin Wan and I are not related by blood, so there is no such thing as corrupting morals. There is nothing wrong with liking someone. But I was young and didn't distinguish between dependence and feelings. Now, I have thought it through. I will bless anyone Lin Wan marries in the future. If you continue to gossip about her behind her back, don't blame me for reporting your words and suing you for slander. After the last life, you knew very well that rumors would become more and more outrageous, and escaping would only make things worse. This time, you will not run away again. The people around you were frightened by your re-inspiring momentum and stopped talking. You walked briskly towards home. As soon as you entered the house, you saw your mother coming out of the kitchen with dishes. The exam is over. You can hear. You took the plate from your mother and asked casually, "Where did your sister go?" Your mother's face was full of smiles. Your sister finally got it. Isn't she going to have a blind date with Shan Yu tomorrow? She went to the town to buy gifts for him. You listened quietly without much emotional fluctuations in your heart. The only thing you didn't expect was that Lin would actually value Jian Yu so much. She has always been taciturn and never cared too much about others, but she would carefully choose a gift for Jian Yu. When the last dish was served, Lin Wan also came back, carrying a lot of bags in her hands. You looked at the things in the bag. There were shirts, ties, and an exquisite lighter. Why did you buy so much? The mother asked with this. Lin Wan replied, "Some of them are for Dad. I was thinking about leaving, so I bought some things for you." You kid, you just started working. You should save the money for later use. Mom doesn't need these. You listened to their conversation back and forth, but never spoke, just silently eating your favorite sweet and sour fish. After dinner, you got up and went back to your room. As soon as you entered the room, you saw the photo of you and Lin Wan on the desk. You walked into the desk, looked at the 2 people smiling happily in the photo frame, and thought of the past. Since Lin Wan came to the house, she has always been very good to you. When you worked, 10 years old, you accidentally caught a cold in the rain, and Lin Wan used a hot towel to cool you down physically and stayed with you all night. When you were 12 years old, you were bullied by your senior classmates. Lin Wan stood up for you without saying a word. As an excellent student in the grade, she took the warning for you for the first time. When you were 15 years old, you got lost in the back mountain because of playing. Lin Wan searched for you all night and carried you home. But then Lin Wan went to college in another city, and your relationship gradually drifted apart. Now Lin Wan is about to get married and start a new family, and you are also going to college in Peking University or Tingshu University, and these memories will eventually fade away. You suppressed your emotions, took out a paper box from the cabinet, and put away all the things related to Lin Wan, including photos of the two of you, the exquisite notebook she gave you, and your childhood toys. You put the packed things aside and prepared to throw them away the next day. The next day you got up and just went out with the paper box in your arms, and the door opposite just opened. I saw that Lin Wan had changed her simple dress in the past and wore a light blue dress, which looked fresh and refined. She looked at the things in your hand and asked in a flat voice, "What are you holding?" "Some materials I reviewed before and some toys when I was a child. I plan to donate them to the children in the welfare home," you answered calmly. Lin Wan nodded without asking any more questions and walked straight up. Just as she reached the door, she turned back and added, "Tell Mom later that you won't be back for dinner." You watched her walk out of the yard, then looked at the photo frame of the two of you on top of the box, and the corners of your mouth twitched slightly. How careless was Lin Wan to not notice that this photo frame was the only photo of the two of you. After a while, you walked to the road and threw the things in your hand into the trash can. After breakfast, you went out to take a bus to town, planning to buy some things to take to college in the future. From the east to the west of the city, you looked for several bookstores before you found a book introducing Tingshu University and Peking University. Then you went to the supermarket and bought a thermos, a wash basin, and other daily necessities. Finally, when you passed by the pharmacy, you remembered that you heard your mother coughing last night, so you went in to buy cough syrup and cold medicine. Looking at the many things in your hand, you are about to take a ride back to the village. When you pass a jewelry store, you hear the enthusiastic voice of the shopping guide. "Oh, this necklace is very suitable for your girlfriend. You have a good taste?" You glanced inside inadvertently, and the figures of Lin Wan and Zhang Yu broke into your sight. Then you saw Lin Wan holding Zhang Yu's arm on, putting an exquisite necklace on his neck. At this moment, you let it go completely. You looked at this scene, without any ripples in your heart, retracted your sight and turned away. Zhang Yu walked out of the jewelry store with Lin Wan on his arm. When he saw you, he deliberately raised his voice and said, "Su Ran, what a coincidence." You responded lightly, "I'm here to buy something." Zhang Yu's face flashed with pride, and he continued to smile and said, "Lin Wan and I have a successful blind date. We will get married soon. You won't mind, right?" When he said that, he deliberately shook the necklace on his neck in front of you. You didn't look closely, and still responded softly, "I don't mind. Since you have decided to stay away from them, anything they do has nothing to do with you." Zhang Yu was stunned. He didn't expect you to have such a lukewarm reaction. He felt a little deflated for a moment. He raised his smiling face and deliberately said to Lin Wan beside him, "We will be a family from now on, Lin Wan. Your brother is also my brother." Lin Wan looked at Zhang Yu gently and nodded, "Yeah." You smiled lightly and said nothing. After experiencing the events of the previous life, you already know Zhang Yu's true face. In this life, you don't want to have any intersection with him anymore, and you won't consider him a friend anymore. The smile on Zhang Yu's face became more and more obvious. "Su Ran, Lin Wan and I still have to buy other things." "Things? How about you come with me?" "No, I'll go back after I finish shopping." You refused without thinking and got on the car to go home. Lin Wan watched you leave, her silent eyes dark and complicated, but she didn't say anything in the end. After you got home, you gave the cough syrup and cold medicine to your mother before going back to your room. You sat down at the table and couldn't wait to open the book introducing Tingshu University and Peking University. You were attracted by the profound cultural heritage and rich archaeological resources of this university. Before you knew it, it was dark. At this time, there was a knock on the door. You got up to open the door and saw Lin Wan standing at the door. I saw that the light was still on in your room. Why haven't you gone to bed yet? She asked softly. You answered softly, I'm going to sleep. Lin Wan looked at you, who was alienated in front of her, and suddenly frowned. She felt that your attitude towards her had become much colder recently, which made her feel a little inexplicably irritated. She glanced casually and found that a corner of the desk in the room was empty. Where's the photo frame on your desk? You looked back and blurted out a lie. I accidentally broke it before, so I took it to be repaired. For some reason, after hearing this answer, Lin Wan's chest felt a little relieved. Well, then you should go to bed early. Good night. After saying that, she turned and went into her room. In your previous life, you didn't dare to lie in front of Lin Wan, because she could always see through it. But now, Lin Wan didn't hear your casual lie. You laughed at yourself, then closed the door and went to bed. In the next few days, apart from reading, you waited for the test results to come out. As for Lin Wan, she went out early and came back late every day, cultivating her relationship with Shan Yu. Days passed like flowing water, and it was the day of the announcement of the college entrance examination results on June 24. You rushed to the school early in the morning to check your college entrance examination results. As soon as you arrived at the school gate, a black BMW stopped. Su-ran, are you here to check your results too? You wanted to go around, but when you heard someone calling you, you turned around and saw a sweet-looking girl getting out of the car. It was Leah, who was in the same class with you. Leah came from a wealthy family and was a cheerful girl. Although the two of you didn't communicate much before, your relationship was pretty harmonious. You nodded politely. Liu didn't care about your politeness and walked forward familiarly. Let's go in together. The two of you walked into the teacher's office together. When you got the transcript, although you estimated your score, you were still a little nervous. You calmed your heartbeat, opened the transcript, and looked at the total score at the bottom. What caught your eye was the black and white words. You scored 695 points. You finally relaxed your tense nerves. You checked the admission scores of Tingshu University and Peking University in previous years, which were all around 675. This score was more than enough to get into Tingshu University and Peking University. After thanking the teacher, you wanted to go home quickly to tell your parents the good news. But you waited and waited, but no car came. Fortunately, Liu took you back on the way. After arriving home, you got off the car and saw Lin Wan and Zhang, you walking out of the yard arm in arm. You quickly retracted your gaze and thanked Liu in the driver's seat. Liu still had a bright smile on her face. Su-ran, if you really want to thank me, it's my birthday and today's come and play. After Liu left, you were ready to go in. Chan, you said exaggerated. Su-ran, that was Liu just now. Are you dating? She is a rich girl who is famous for her love of fun. I'm afraid that dating her will not have a good result. You frowned and were about to speak, when Lin Wan's voice of admonition sounded. Shan Yu is right. The Li family is not the same kind of family as us. Have less contact with her in the future. Besides, you must be careful and don't go out and fool around with others casually. You felt very uncomfortable listening to her words. You were just sent home by your classmates. How did it become fooling around with others? What right did Lin Wan have to say that to you? You glanced at Lin Wan and blurted out subconsciously, Sister, I'm an adult. It's my freedom to make friends with whatever people I want. I'm a little tired. I'll go in first. After saying that, he walked straight into the yard. Lin Wan stood there staring at your door, her face a little gloomy, until Zhang Yu reminded her. Lin Wan came back to her senses. You didn't care about Lin Wan's reaction. After telling your parents the scores in the evening, the next thing was to fill in the application. In order not to be discovered, you deliberately found a day when Lin Wan was not at home and went to the school library to fill in the application on the computer. A few days later, you went to the library to return the book. On the way home, you met Liu and her group of girlfriends. Originally, you were going to say hello and leave, but Liu suddenly asked you, Su-ran, do you want to sing? Before you could answer, you heard a group of friends around her easing. "We Sheng wants to sing today and drag us along." Only then did you know that today was Liu's birthday, and it was not good to offend her face. So a group of people came to the largest KEV in town. Walking into the private room, you looked at the unfamiliar environment and froze in place. Liu came over with a microphone. "Have you never sung before? Don't be afraid, let's play together." You nodded and ordered songs with everyone. But unexpectedly, just after ordering a few songs, the door of the private room was suddenly pushed open, and Lin Wan and Zhang Yu walked in. You were also a little stunned. You didn't expect that Lin Wan, who was always more serious, would accompany Zhang Yu to KTV. You greeted calmly, "Sister." Liu on the side was stunned for a moment, and then greeted, "Hello, my name is Liu." Lin Wan glanced at Liu coldly, and just when she was about to say something, suddenly music sounded in the private room, and those who were originally chatting began to sing happily again, and the atmosphere became lively for a while. Zhang Yu pulled Lin Wan to sit on the sofa beside him, and Lin Wan had to swallow the words that were about to come out of her mouth. You looked at him and smiled, and Liu pulled you to order songs. After all, it was your first time singing in KEV, and you were still a little nervous. Liu looked at your reserved look and said with a smile, "Don't be nervous. What do you want to sing? I will help you order it." You thought about it and ordered a simpler song. When it was your turn to sing, you held the microphone and your voice was still trembling. Liu cheered for you. Gradually, you relaxed and your singing became smoother. After the song, everyone applauded. Liu smiled and said, "Su Ran, I didn't expect you to sing so well." You smiled a little embarrassed like, eh. This time, Zhang Yu suddenly stood up, pulled Lin Wan and said, "Lin Wan, let's sing a song together." Lin Wan couldn't refuse, so she had to sing a love song with Zhang Yu. The two sang affectionately on the stage, and Zhang Yu looked at Lin Wan from time to time, his eyes full of love. You looked at them, and there was no previous ripples in your heart, just listening quietly. After singing, Zhang Yu was still not satisfied, and pulled Lin Wan to dance again. Lin Wan was a little shy, but still danced to Zhang Yu's rhythm. Liu looked at you and found that you didn't seem to care about the interaction between Lin Wan and Zhang Yu, and she was a little curious. She approached you and asked softly, "Su Ran, your relationship with your sister seems a bit complicated." You smiled bitterly and didn't answer. Liu didn't ask any more questions, but pulled you to play games together. When everyone was having fun, Liu suddenly suggested playing Truth or Dare. Everyone responded and you couldn't refuse. When it was your turn, Liu asked with a sly smile, "Su Ran, do you have someone you like now?" You were stunned. You didn't. You thought about it and answered, "Not now. I want to focus on my studies first." Everyone heard it and started to make a noise, saying that you are a top student who only knows how to study. The game continued and the atmosphere became more and more heated. But at this moment, Lin Wan suddenly walked to your side and whispered, "Su Ran, come out with me." You were a little confused, but still followed her out of the private room. Lin Wan pulled you to the corner of the corridor and frowned and said, "Su Ran, you and Liu are too close. She is not suitable for you. Your main task now is to study. Don't be distracted by these things. Liu is just my friend. Why you always interfere in my life?" Lin Wan was choked by your words and didn't know how to answer for a while. She looked at you with a complicated look in her eyes. "I just don't want you to get hurt. You're still young and don't understand many things." You took a deep breath and said, "Sister, I have grown up and I can be responsible for my own behavior. You and Zhang Yu stay together and don't worry about my affairs." After saying that, you turned around and went back to the private room. Lin Wan stood there, looking at your back, feeling a little lost. She didn't understand why you suddenly became so rebellious and no longer listened to her like before. When Lin Wan returned to the private room, she found that you and Li Yue were playing games happily, as if the unpleasantness just now had never happened. Zhang Yu saw Lin Wan coming back and asked with concern, "What's wrong, Lin Wan?" Lin Wan shook her head. "Nothing." After a while, Shan Yu looked at the time and said, "It's getting late. We should go back." Linwan nodded and said goodbye to everyone. You looked at their backs as they left, feeling a little emotional. You once thought that Linwan would always be the most important person in your life, but now the distance between you is getting farther and farther. Li looked at your absence, might look and patted your shoulder. Su ran, "Don't think about it, keep playing." You came back to your senses, smiled and nodded. Then everyone played for a while before they dispersed. When you returned home, your parents were already asleep. You tiptoed back to your room, lay on the bed, and thought about what happened today. You know that from now on, the life trajectories of you and Linwan will be completely different. You will pursue your own dreams, and she will also move towards a future with Zhang Yu. Days passed, and finally the day of college started. You packed your luggage, said goodbye to your parents, and embarked on a journey to Tingshua and Peking University. Along the way, you were excited and full of expectations for your future college life. When you arrived at Tingshua and Peking University, you completed the admission procedure and were assigned to dormitory 301 in Building 3. When you entered the dormitory with your luggage, there were already 2 classmates inside who were packing their things. Seeing you come in, the boy sitting by the window greeted you enthusiastically. "Hello, you are the new roommate. My name is Xiao Yan." Another boy who was making the bed also turned around. "Hello, my name is Wang Tao." He smiled and responded, "Hello, my name is Xu Ran." Xiao Yang is a very talkative boy, and he is also local. He immediately opened up and told you and Wang Tao a lot of fun places in the capital. "I can take you there when I have time. How about National Day?" Wang Tao's home is closer to the capital, so he shook his head and said that he might go home for National Day. Finally, Xiao Yang looked at you. "You are not going home too, are you?" You hesitated a little, thinking that you came to Tingshua and Peking University secretly without telling Linwan. She would definitely come to you to ask for clarification. If you go back during National Day, you might really run into her, but you don't really want to see her now. You thought about it again and again, shook your head. "I won't go back during National Day. Then you can take me to visit the capital." Xiao Yang smiled and stepped forward to pat your shoulder. "Okay then, we have a deal. There will be a large-scale historical and cultural relics exhibition during National Day this year. We can go and see it. Maybe it will help you learn archaeology." Your eyes lit up and you nodded quickly. After that, you and your roommates started your life at Peking University and Tingshua University. According to tradition, every freshman class has to attend the welcome meeting. This time the meeting was divided by dormitory, and each dormitory had to perform a program. Except for Xiao Yang, several people stayed in the dormitory to discuss this matter. You thought about it, then asked the others in the dormitory, "What talents do you have?" Wang Tao said that he had been in the school band before and could play drums. Another roommate said that he had learned folk dance. You were a little embarrassed. You didn't have any talents to show off. At this time, Xiao Yang suddenly broke in. "I know what program our dormitory is going to perform." Several pairs of eyes in the dormitory looked at him. "We can perform a program with the girls' dormitory that combines drums, folk dance, and archaeological knowledge, and insert some interactions in the middle. How about it?" As soon as the words came out, everyone else thought it was pretty good, because everyone has related talents. And they also know that college students now like this form. Only you are a little hesitant. Xiao Yang sees your hesitation and says to you, "You can be responsible for explaining archaeological knowledge in interactive sessions, and you can be in the middle to mobilize the atmosphere. You can do this, right?" In the end, you still bit the bulletin nodded. You came to Tingshua University and Peking University to improve yourself and have a bright future. Then start to train yourself from this welcome program. After that, several people gathered together to discuss the specific details. You suddenly thought of a question and asked Xiao Yang, "Which girls' dormitory did you unite with?" Xiao Yang patted his head. "Yes, I almost forgot. If you're free now, let's go find them." Several people nodded and just walked out of the dormitory door. They heard someone standing at the entrance of the corridor shouting, "Isu ran from 301 here." There's a phone call from the guard room. You were stunned. "Someone called you?" Didn't you call home 2 days ago? Did something happen at home? You immediately became anxious and said to Xiao Yang, I have to go to the guard room first. I will come to find you later. Xiao Yang nodded. We should be in the rehearsal room or the cafeteria. Okay. You nodded and ran to the guard room. You picked up the microphone beside you and put it to your ear. Hello, Mom and Dad. Is there something wrong at home? Suran, it's me. When you heard the unexpected but familiar voice coming from the other side, you were a little stunned. You didn't expect Lin Wan to contact you so quickly. You were silent for a long time before you said, Sister. Lin Wan on the other end listened to your voice in the microphone, and her inner anxiety seemed to disappear a little. But thinking of what you did before, she felt angry again. She couldn't help but voice with a hint of anger. Suran, don't you have anything to say to me? There was silence in the microphone for a while, which made Lin Wan feel uneasy for no reason. Just when she was about to speak again, your voice came to her ear. Sister, I told you what I wanted to say before. Now I have come to Tingshuan Peking University. You don't have to worry about me. You and Jiang will be together in the future. After the words fell, Lin Wan felt a little depressed. So you are because of him. She was interrupted by you before she finished speaking. These are no longer important, sister. Although we are siblings, each of us has his own life. I have found the goal of life now. You don't have to worry about it. Listening to your calm words, Lin Wan felt very uncomfortable. She felt that you were alienated from her on the other end of the phone, but she gradually discovered that she cared about you deep in her heart, but she didn't know how to tell you. Seeing that there was no sound over there, you didn't want to hold on to the past anymore, so you spoke again. Sister, I have something else to do here, so I won't say it anymore. Goodbye. After saying that, he hung up the phone without waiting for the other party to respond. You stood there to calm down your emotions, then turned around and left the guard room. You found them in the rehearsal room according to what Xiao Yang told you. When you went over, you happened to see that they were discussing the specific performance process with the people in the girls' dormitory. Xiao Yang saw you, immediately waved to you. Suran here. You walked over quickly and introduced yourself to the girls. Xiao Yang said to you, I told them about your situation, and they all welcome you to join our show. You smiled and thanked them. At this time, one of the girls said, Suran, when you are on stage, you can prepare some interesting questions and interact with the audience, so as to better mobilize the atmosphere. And for the part about explaining archaeological knowledge, you can pick some interesting stories to tell, which will be more attractive. You nodded to show that you understood. After that, everyone the intense rehearsal began. During the rehearsal, you gradually became familiar with one of the girls named Lin Shishi. Lin Shishi is a very cheerful girl who studies literature and has many common topics with you. During the break, you often chat about topics related to history and literature, and you find it very relaxing and pleasant to chat with her. Time passed little by little, and in a blink of an eye it was the welcome party. When you went on stage with everyone, you were a little nervous at first, but when you saw the enthusiastic eyes of the students below the stage, you gradually relaxed. You followed the previous rehearsal, cleverly interweaving in the middle, asking some interesting questions to interact with the audience, and vividly explaining archaeological knowledge. And the atmosphere on the scene was very enthusiastic because of you. After the performance, thunderous applause rang out from the audience. Everyone left the stage together, and Xiao Yang patted you on the shoulder. Suran, I didn't expect you to have a talent for hosting. You performed well today, others also echoed. It's all because of everyone's good cooperation. Because of this performance together, you and Lin Shishi and her dormitory have forged a deep friendship. After that, everyone was devoted to study. Apart from classes, you spent most of your time in the library. You often ran into Lin Shishi, and the two of you gradually became closer. As time went on, many people said that you were dating. Even Zhe Yan came to ask you, Suran, are you and Lin Shishi really dating? You were shocked to hear this and shook your head quickly. No, I just often run into her in the library. Don't say anything. But hearing Xiao Yang say this, others must have misunderstood even more. The next day when you met Lin Shishi again in the library, you kept your distance at all times. and didn't listen to her talk about literary creation like you did during the break before. Lin Shishi immediately felt that you were a little strange, and immediately thought of the things that were going around now. She looked at you and whispered, Suran, there's no need to care about what others think. Even if we are dating, it's none of their business. You know that's what you said, but you still remember the shadow of your past life. In your past life, it was because of rumors that ruined your life. Now you don't want to let yourself fall into such a whirlpool again. You thought to Lin Shishi, I'll study in the dormitory in the future. Lin Shishi was stunned, looking at you with a frown next to her, wanting to say something, but finally saying nothing. She found that you seemed to mind, so it's up to you. After that, the two of you deliberately reduced contact. After a while, those gossips finally stopped, and you were relieved and immersed in your studies. Time flew by like water, and the National Day came unknowingly. On this day, everyone else in the dormitory went home, leaving only you and Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang said to you, it is said that there are many precious cultural relics on display at the National Day Historical Relics Exhibition this time. Let's go and see it together. Okay, I've always been interested in cultural relics. The National Day Cultural Exhibition is not so large every year, and you are looking forward to seeing it. The two headed off, and just as they were leaving the school gate, they ran into Lin Shishi. She was a little surprised to see you. You didn't go home. Where are you going? Before you could say anything, Xiaoyang replied first. We're going to the Historical Relics Exhibition Center to see the exhibition. That's great, me too. Let's go together. He looked at you as if he was afraid that you would refuse. You nodded, and then got into Lin Shishi's car with Xiaoyang. When we arrived at the Historical Relics Exhibition Center, it was already full of people. You and Xiaoyang looked at each other with, what should we do now? In your eyes. Come with me. There are too many people here, it's hard to see anything. Lin Shishi said, and then took you to another passage. When you stood in a position where you could clearly see all the exhibits, you looked at Lin Shishi in disbelief, and suddenly remembered that you had heard in school that her grandfather seemed to be a master in the cultural world. No wonder she could find such a good position. Xiaoyang was already dumbfounded. Lin Shishi, who are you to find such a good position? Lin Shishi said unfairly. Nothing, the exhibition is about to start. You found that Xiaoyang's eyes had changed when he looked at Lin Shishi, mixed with something else. You were a little stunned, but you didn't think much about it, and you focused on the exhibition. As the lights in the exhibition hall dimmed, precious cultural relics appeared in front of you. You looked at those cultural relics that carried thousands of years of history, and your heart was full of shock and awe. Suddenly, your sight was fixed on an ancient bronzeware, and your thoughts could not help but drift away. At this moment, you felt someone gently patting your shoulder, and you looked back and it was Lin Wan. You were shocked. Why is she here? Lin Wan looked at you with a complicated look in her eyes. Suran, I didn't expect to meet you here. You were stunned for a moment, and before you could speak, Xiaoyang and Lin Shishi's voices came. Suran, do you know her? You nodded. This is my sister. Lin Wan looked at Lin Shishi and Xiaoyang, then looked at you, and for some reason, a sour feeling welled up in her heart. Sister, why are you in the capital? And why are you here to attend this exhibition? You asked. Lin Wan said softly, the company temporarily sent me to the capital to attend a meeting. After the meeting, I heard about this historical relic exhibition, so I came to see it. At this time, Lin Shishi smiled and said, so you are Su Ran's sister. Hello, my name is Lin Shishi. Lin Wan nodded politely, but her eyes unconsciously wandered between Lin Shishi and you. Xiaoyang also greeted him, and the atmosphere was a little subtle for a while. You noticed Lin Wan's strangeness and felt a little helpless, but you didn't want to say anything more here. You put your attention back on the exhibition, trying to ignore Lin Wan's vague gaze beside you. However, Lin Wan seemed absent-minded, and looked in the direction of your conversation with Lin Shishi from time to time. After the exhibition, you walked out of the exhibition center together. Lin Wan looked at you, hesitated for a moment, and said, Suran, I have something to tell you. Let's find a place to sit down. You looked at Xiaoyang and Lin Shishi, and they tactfully said that they would leave first, so that you two siblings could have a good chat. You took Lin Wan to a nearby coffee shop, and the two of you sat by the window. Neither of you spoke first. Lin Wan looked at you with mixed feelings in her heart. Since you expressed your attitude so firmly on the phone last time, she felt as if a piece was missing from her heart. In the past few months of getting along with Shan Yu, she felt more and more that although Shan Yu cared for her on the surface, he always felt that something was missing, and every time she thought of you, an indescribable emotion would surge in her heart. Finally, Lin Wan broke the silence. Shan Yu and I broke up. You looked up with some surprise and looked at Lin Wan, but there was no big ripple in your heart. Lin Wan continued, during the time I was with him, I found that we were not suitable and I found that I was always thinking about you. You were stunned and couldn't believe what you heard. Lin Wan looked at your shocked expression and mustered up the courage to say, Su-ran, I was wrong before. I didn't see my own feelings clearly and rejected you. But now I know that I like you, not the kind of love between siblings, but the love between men and women. You came back to your senses, but your heart was full of bitterness and helplessness. You once loved her so deeply, but in return she rejected you coldly, unfavored Shan Yu. And now when you finally let go, she suddenly confessed. You took a deep breath and said, Sister, stop joking. How can we be together? And you rejected me so firmly before, and now you suddenly say you like me. I really can't accept it. Lin Wan said anxiously. Su-ran, I'm serious. I thought a lot during this period, and I found that I can't live without you. I know that my previous actions hurt you, but I hope you can give me another chance, and I will prove my feelings with actions. You looked at Lin Wan, and your heart was moved, but the pain of your previous life made it difficult for you to let go easily. You shook your head, sister. Feelings are not a joke. I have let it go. Now I just want to focus on my studies and don't want to be troubled by these emotional things. Lin Wan's eyes were red. Su-ran, I know this is very sudden, but emotional things are sometimes so elusive. I really don't want to lose you. Can you think about it again? You looked at Lin Wan and sighed in your heart. Sister, let me calm down. I really don't know how to face you now. After that you got up and prepared to leave. Lin Wan stretched out her hand to hold you, but stopped in mid-breath. She looked at your back as you left and couldn't help but shed tears. After you returned to school, you couldn't calm down for a long time. Lin Wan's confession caused ripples in your originally peaceful life. Xiao Yang saw that you looked bad after you came back, and asked with concern. Su-ran, what's wrong with you? Did something happen with your sister? You forced a smile. It's okay, just some family trivial matters. It's okay now. Although Zhao Yang was a little suspicious, he didn't ask any more questions. In the following days, you tried to devote yourself to study and tried to forget Lin Wan's confession. However, Lin Wan didn't seem to give up easily. She began to call and send you messages frequently to express her feelings, and appeared near Tingshu University and Peking University from time to time wanting to meet you. One day, you just came out of the library and saw Lin Wan standing at the door of the library. Your heart tightened and you turned around to avoid her, but Lin Wan called you. Su-ran, wait for me. You stopped helplessly and watched Lin Wan walk towards you, her eyes full of expectation. Su-ran, I know you are still angry with me, but I really hope you can give me a chance. I have been reflecting on my previous behavior these days and I really regret it. You looked at Lin Wan, feeling a little headache. Sister, I've already said that I don't want to talk about feelings now. You will only make me more trouble. Lin Wan bit her lip. Su-ran, I just don't want to miss you. I know I hurt you deeply before, but I will make up for it in the future. Just then, Lin Shishi happened to pass by and saw you and Lin Wan standing together, and felt that the atmosphere was a little wrong. He came over and looked at you and Lin Wan. Su-ran, what's wrong? Before you could answer, Lin Wan said, You must be Lin Shishi. I hope you can stay away from Su-ran. Don't interfere in the matter between him and me. Lin Shishi was stunned, looked at Lin Wan, and then looked at you. Su-ran, what does she mean by this? You were a little embarrassed and hurriedly explained. Shishi, This is my sister. She may have misunderstood the relationship between us. Lin Shishi frowned. Sister Su Ran. Su Ran and Dad are just friends. You don't have to say that. And Su Ran has the right to make friends. Lin Wan looked at Lin Shishi, and a surge of jealousy surged in her heart. I don't care what your relationship is, I just know that I like Su Ran. And I don't want other girls to get close to him. You listened to Lin Wan's words, and felt a little angry. Sister, you are too much. Shishi is my friend. You can't be so unreasonable. Lin Wan was shocked by your words. She didn't expect you to lose your temper with her for Lin Shishi. Her eyes were red, and she turned and ran away. You looked at Lin Wan's back as she left, feeling a little reluctant. But you also felt that Lin Wan's behavior was too impulsive. Lin Shishi looked at you and asked softly, Su Ran, does your sister like you? What she said just now didn't sound like what a sister would say to her brother. You nodded helplessly. Shishi, I'm sorry to trouble you. My sister. She's been a little confused recently. Don't take it too hard. Lin Shishi smiled. It's okay, I understand. But you have to think it through. After all, this is a big deal about your own feelings. You looked at Lin Shishi gratefully. Thank you, Shishi. I will think about it carefully. After this incident, you realize that you must make it clear with Lin Wan. Otherwise she will not give up easily, and your life will continue to be disturbed. You sent a message to Lin Wan and asked her to meet in a park near the school. At the agreed time you came to the park early, and Lin Wan also showed up on time. She looked at you with a hint of expectation in her eyes. You took a deep breath and said, Sister, let's have a good talk. I hope you can understand that our relationship can't develop as you expect. I liked you before because I mistook my dependence on you for love. Now I have grown up and understand what I really want. Lin Wan wanted to refute, but you raised your hand to stop her. Sister, listen to me first. Your previous rejection caused me a lot of harm. Although I have let it go now, the pain is still there. Moreover, the change in our relationship was too sudden. I really can't accept it. I hope you can respect my decision, and we will still be siblings like before. Lin Wan's eyes were full of tears. Su Ran, is there really no possibility? I really don't want to lose you. You looked at Lin Wan, feeling a little distressed, but still said firmly, Sister, some things are hard to go back to the past once they are missed. I hope you can let go and find the happiness that truly belongs to you. Lin Wan was silent for a long time and finally nodded slowly. Su Ran, I understand. Since you have made up your mind, I respect your choice. Hope you can live happily in the future. You looked at Lin Wan and a big stone in your heart finally fell. Sister, you too, I believe you will meet someone who truly loves you. Since then, Lin Wan has gradually faded out of your life and no longer disturbs you frequently. You have also returned to a peaceful study life, and your relationship with Lin Shishi, Xiaoyan and others has become better and better. As time goes by, your studies in Tingsha and Peking University are getting better and better. You actively participate in various archaeological academic activities, and also participate in some archaeological excavation projects organized by the school, accumulating rich practical experience. And Shishi has also achieved good results in literary creation. She often shares her creative inspiration with you, and you will also tell her some interesting things in the archaeological process. The relationship between the two is getting closer and closer, but no one has broken the window paper. At a campus cultural festival, your archaeological club organized a cultural relic exhibition and explanation activity. As the main person in charge, you are busy preparing. Lin Shishi also came to help. She used her literary expertise to write a detailed and vivid introduction copy for the exhibition. On the day of the event, many students came to visit. To explain the historical background and cultural value of the cultural relics to everyone on the spot, while Lin Shishi assisted you and helped maintain order. Seeing the eyes of your classmates full of curiosity and enthusiasm for archaeological culture, you were filled with a sense of accomplishment. After the event, you and Lin Shishi cleaned up the venue together. Lin Shishi looked at you with a smile in her eyes. Su Ran, today's event was very successful. You spoke so well, you smiled and said. Thanks to your copywriting, everyone can better understand these cultural relics. The two looked at each other and saw appreciation and tacit understanding in each other's eyes. Suddenly, Lin Shishi's cell phone rang. After she answered the phone, her face changed slightly. You asked with concern. What's wrong, Shishi? Lin Shishi hung up the phone and said anxiously, Su-ran, there's something urgent at home. I have to go back immediately. You hurriedly said, then go quickly. Tell me if you need any help. After Lin Shishi left in a hurry, you were a little worried about her, but you could only pray silently in your heart that her family's affairs could be resolved smoothly. In the next few days, Lin Shishi didn't contact you. When you sent her a message, she just replied briefly saying that the matter was still being processed and asked you not to worry. Just when you were getting a little restless, Lin Shishi finally contacted you. You are here, and you were asked to meet by the lake in the school. You hurried to the lake and saw Lin Shishi standing by the lake, looking a little haggard. You walked up to her and asked her, concernedly, Shishi, how are things going at home? Lin Shishi looked at you. A hint of hesitation flashed through her eyes. Then she took a deep breath and said, Su-ran, I'm going to transfer to another school. You were stunned, not believing what you heard. Transfer? Why? What happened? Tears welled up in Lin Shishi's eyes. My family's business has run into problems, and I need to go back to help deal with it. And my parents hope that I can transfer to a university closer to home so that I can participate in family affairs. You felt disappointed, but still said with a forced smile, Shishi, I understand you. Family matters are important. You should go back. I hope you can solve the problems at home smoothly. Lin Shishi looked at you and couldn't help but shed tears. Su-ran, I can't bear to leave you. The time I've spent with you in the past few months is the happiest time of my life. You were also reluctant but still comforted her. Shishi, we can still keep in touch. No matter where you are, we are good friends. See, she nodded. Su-ran, in fact, I've always wanted to tell you that I like you. I'd had a crush on you since the first time we chatted in the library. But I never dared to say it, fearing that it would ruin our friendship. Now I'm leaving, and I don't want to leave any regrets for myself. You were moved, and looked at Lin Shishi. It turned out that she had always liked you. You gently wiped away her tears. Shishi, I like you too. I just haven't found the right time to say it. But it doesn't matter. Even if you transfer, our feelings won't change. Lin Shishi burst into laughter. Su-ran, are you serious? Then are we together? You smiled and nodded. Yes, Shishi, we are together. No matter how far we are, I will always like you. In the next few days, you helped Lin Shishi pack her luggage and sent her away. At the moment of separation, you hugged each other tightly, and promised to keep in touch, waiting for the day when you would meet again. After Lin Shishi left, although you felt a little lost, you also worked harder to study and archaeological research. You know that you and Lin Shishi have your own dreams and responsibilities, and you have to work hard for the future. As your research deepens, you gradually emerge in the field of archaeology. Several papers you published on the study of ancient cultural relics have attracted the attention of the academic community. Your tutor has high hopes for you and recommends you to attend an international archaeological academic exchange conference. At the conference, you met archaeological experts and scholars from all over the world, exchanged academic views with them, and broadened your horizons. After the conference, you received an invitation from a well-known foreign university, hoping that you can go to their school for further study, and provided generous scholarships and research resources. You are in a dilemma. This is a rare opportunity to improve yourself, which will greatly help your future archaeological career development. On the other hand, you are reluctant to leave Tingshuan Peking University, and you are reluctant to leave the relationship that you and Lin Shishi have just confirmed. I don't know how going abroad for further study will affect your relationship. You decided to discuss this with Lin Shishi. You called Lin Shishi and told her about the invitation from the foreign university. Lin Shishi was silent for a while on the other end of the phone, and then said, Su-ran, this is a great opportunity. I don't want to delay your future because of me. You should pursue your dreams, and I will always support you. Listening to Lin Shishi's words, you were very moved, Shishi. But I am worried that the distance between us will affect our feelings when we go abroad. Lin Shishi smiled and said, Su Ran, true feelings will not fade because of distance. We can keep in touch through video and phone. When you return from school, we can always be together. Moreover, I will also work hard in China. When you come back, maybe I've become an outstanding writer. Encouraged by Lin Shishi, you finally made up your mind to accept the invitation from a foreign university. You began to prepare for going abroad, applying for a visa, packing your luggage, etc. The day before leaving, you had a meal with Xiao Yang, Wang Tao, and other dormitory friends. They all sent you blessings, hoping that you can succeed in your studies abroad. With your vision of the future and your longing for Lin Shishi, you boarded the plane to a foreign country. On the plane, you looked at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window, and secretly vowed in your heart that you must study hard, return home as soon as possible, reunite with Lin Shishi, and realize your archaeological dream. After arriving abroad, you quickly plunged into intensive study and research. The learning environment and teaching methods abroad are very different from those in China, and you need to constantly adapt and adjust. But with a solid foundation and hard-working learning attitude, you quickly stood out in the new environment. In addition to studying, what you look forward to most is the time to video call with Lin Shishi. Every time you see Lin Shishi's smiling face and hear her share her life and creative progress in China, you will feel extremely warm and at ease. Although you are thousands of miles apart, your hearts are closely connected. However, as time goes by, you find that Lin Shishi seems to be a little bit wrong. She sometimes seems absent-minded during video calls, and her concern for you is not as enthusiastic as before. You are a little worried in your heart, and ask her many times if something happened. Lin Shishi always says that it's okay and asks you not to worry. Until one day Lin Shishi suddenly sent you a message saying that she felt the distance between you was too far. She couldn't stand the torment of this long-distance relationship and wanted to break up with you. When you saw this message, you were stunned. You couldn't believe your eyes and immediately called Lin Shishi's phone, but found that her phone was turned off. You were anxious and didn't know what to do. You tried to contact Lin Shishi's friends to find out what happened to her, but her friends didn't know. You fell into deep pain and confusion and didn't understand while Lin Shishi suddenly proposed to break up. In the following days, you had no intention of studying and were immersed in pain all day long. You kept recalling every bit of being with Lin Shishi and didn't understand why the relationship that was once so firm would be so vulnerable in the face of distance. Your tutoring classmates all noticed your abnormality and cared about you, but you couldn't get out of the pain. Just when you were about to give up, you suddenly receive an email from Lin Shishi. In the email, Lin Shishi told you the truth. It turned out that her family's business problems were not completely solved, but became more and more serious. Her parents hoped that she could marry the son of a business partner to save the family business. In order not to drag you down and not want you to worry about her, Lin Shishi chose to break up. After reading the email, you felt mixed emotions. You knew that Lin Shishi was doing this for your own good, but you didn't want to give up your relationship. You decided to return to China immediately to meet Lin Shishi and tell her that you didn't care about her family's situation and that you were willing to face all the difficulties with her. You asked for leave from school and bought the nearest flight back home. On the plane, you were full of anticipation and nervousness. You didn't know how Lin Shishi would react to seeing you, nor did you know whether your relationship could be saved. Finally, the plane landed at the domestic airport. You couldn't wait to rush to Lin Shishi's house. When you appeared in front of Lin Shishi, she looked at you in surprise with complex emotions in her eyes. You looked at Lin Shishi and said affectionately, Shishi, I'm back. I saw your email. I don't care about your family situation. I just know that I can't live without you. We face difficulties together and we will definitely get through it. Lin Shishi looked at you and couldn't help crying. Su Ran, why did you come back? You should study abroad and pursue your dreams. I don't want to delay your future because of my affairs. You held Lin Shishi's hand tightly, with a firm look. Shishi, you are part of my dream. Even if I achieve great success in the field of archaeology, what's the point? I believe there are always more solutions than difficulties. Lin Shishi was so moved that she burst into tears. She didn't expect that you would come back to her without hesitation when she was in the most difficult time. With your comfort, Lin Shishi gradually calmed down. She told you that her parents didn't have much time left for her. She would be engaged to the son of that business partner next month. You frowned, knowing that time was running out. You started to ask around about Lin Shishi's family's business problems and look for solutions. With the connections you have accumulated in Peking University and Tsinghua University, as well as some friends you have made in the archaeological community, you contacted some experts in the business field and asked them how to save Lin Shishi's family business. After some efforts, you found that the difficulties of Lin Shishi's family business were not unsolvable, but only needed a large amount of capital injection and some new business strategies. You told Lin Shishi the news and hope rekindled in her eyes. However, raising funds is not easy. You and Lin Shishi ran around and visited various investors, but most of them were rejected. Just when you felt desperate, a turning point appeared. A foreign friend you met at the Archaeological Academic Exchange Conference heard about your experience and was moved by your relationship with Lin Shishi, decided to invest in Lin Shishi's family business. With the injection of this capital and the implementation of new business strategies, Lin Shishi's family business gradually improved. After Lin Shishi's parents learned that all this was the result of your efforts behind the scenes, their attitude towards you changed 180 degrees. They no longer opposed you and Lin Shishi being together, but instead praised you. The man who was originally going to be engaged to Lin Shishi also withdrew tactfully. After seeing that Lin Shishi's family business had turned around and that Lin Shishi had deep feelings for you. After this storm, your relationship with Lin Shishi became deeper. You also gained a deeper understanding of life and feelings because of this experience. You returned to your country to continue your further studies. During your days abroad, you worked harder and not only achieved excellent results in archaeology, but also learned a lot of interdisciplinary knowledge, laying a more solid foundation for your future archaeological career. A few years later, you returned to China after completing your studies. At this time, you have become a young scholar in the archaeological community. The first thing you did after returning to China was to propose to Lin Shishi. In the library where you met, you carefully arranged a romantic proposal ceremony and made a lifelong commitment to Lin Shishi in front of many friends. Lin Shishi burst into tears and happily agreed to your proposal. Not long after, you held a grand wedding. At the wedding, you looked at Lin Shishi in her wedding dress, and your heart was filled with happiness. Your parents, Lin Shishi's parents, and Xiao Yang, Wang Tao, Li Yu and other friends all came to the scene to send you the most sincere blessings. After marriage, you and Lin Shishi walked hand in hand. You continued to explore in the field of archaeology, participated in many major archaeological excavation projects, and made important contributions to the protection and research of historical culture. Lin Shishi shined in literary creation. A novel she created based on her love story was widely praised as soon as it was published. This time you wrote your tragic ending undushered in love and career that truly belonged to you. End of full text.